everybody, and welcome to session 1. Let's go on in and take a look at the content. I'm going to try to make this video as quick as I can. So we are in session 1. This will begin what I call plain text HTML editing. I went in and I updated the checklist for the session because the session has changed a bit from previous semesters. So you can go through this checklist, check these items off as you complete them during the course of the session. It is a 2-week session, and we'll double check that by looking in the course plan in just a second. Alright, so checking the course plan, I made a major revision to it. In fact, it's so major that I also have to go to the syllabus and revise that as well, because assignment names have changed. Really, the content is 80% the same, and then I've ejected a bunch of superfluous content as well. I've simplified some things. So some of these assignments are going to be lightened, at least 3 of them. The copyright and fair use will be lightened, MML tell, and 508 compliance. Anyway, I'm making some major changes, and it's partly based on a conversation that I had with a friend of mine who's a professional web developer in Carrollton. And it's sort of centered around the idea that Dreamweaver is kind of an irrelevant tool, probably, for most of us in this class, and I don't want to spend any more time teaching with that tool. And so I had to make a change that would completely remove Dreamweaver from the picture. If you want to use Dreamweaver, I don't mind if you do, but it doesn't make sense for me to force 30 people to use it when maybe only 2 people want to learn how to use it. I can talk to you more about why Dreamweaver doesn't work anymore, but really there's a lot of talking that goes on in the class overall, so you might want me to talk less rather than more, but feel free to ask me if you're curious why I would get rid of it. So I've sort of streamlined the course plan. It's different now. Some things are in different order. Most most of the stuff that's here would have been here anyway. It's just in a slightly different order. Some of it will be streamlined, etc. So you'll see as the course unfolds. I will have to update the syllabus too, as I probably mentioned earlier, because a lot of these assignment names are different and the order is different. Okay, so that's the course plan. It's good to go take a look at that. And remember, when I make course plan changes, I do write notes here as well. So I said today that the plan had undergone a major change because of the decision to not use Dreamweaver. And then for anybody that feels uncomfortable with such a major change, I went ahead and pasted the old plan down here with the note to please disregard it. But if it helps you to see what it looked like before, I think you'll see that it looks like it's a simpler, more streamlined class now. You may not agree, but I think it will be. Okay. So first thing I want you to do is this discussion aiming towards examples of web design relevant to your needs. You're going to make one initial post and one follow-up, and you're going to look for an example. Well, I don't really want to give you the full instructions. You can click on this to get the full instructions. The next thing I do is I give you an overview of the web and this course. There's some really great foundational information about how the web works, how do internet servers serve pages that your browser reads and you're able to see on your monitor. How does that work? How does HTML kind of work? I mean, it doesn't really go into depth on that yet, but a little bit about that. Overview material. And it is important that you read the first 7 pages of the Duckett textbook. I also have created 3 videos that give you an overview of this course so that you know in this huge world of web design, what are we going to do in this course? How much are we going to dip our toe into this huge world? You know, web development is a huge domain, but we barely scratch the surface of a small part of it. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about here. I'm going to talk to you about web development and then where web design fits in that. I'm going to talk to you about the rules. What are the kind of rules and conventions that we're going to observe? And it's not rules like the rules like no talking or no chewing gum or no texting while driving. It's not that kind of rule. It's rules like copyright and fair use. It's rules about making your websites accessible, rules about good design, that kind of thing. So it's about those kinds of rules. And then what tools do we use? That's a great question that you might be interested in. What are we going to use? If we're not going to use Dreamweaver, what are we going to use? So talk about that. Right now I'm uploading the tools video and it's taking forever because it's an actual video of me talking, and those just take a lot longer to render. So that should be up by Saturday. These 3 videos should be linked. I've already made the videos. They're on my MacBook, but again, they're going to take forever to upload. So give me till Saturday. But what I did do is go in and everything that I tell you on the videos, and I'm writing on a whiteboard, I went and took all that stuff that I'd written on the whiteboard and turned it into notes. So you'll know this is the content of what I talk about in those videos. So if you want to know before the videos get posted what they say, those notes will give you a summary. So you're set. But those will be posted hopefully by the end of Saturday, August 20th. All right, so far in this session, I've asked you to do the discussion, aiming towards examples. The next thing I want you to do is the FTP upload of a practice page. So I've created I'm going into the instructions. I've created a web page right here, and you're going to download it. And I need to fix that. But you're going to download it and you're going to unzip it, and then you're going to upload it to your own web space using the West Georgia web space that you paid for, and you're going to use an FTP client to do that. So that's a kind of software that you have to download and install in order to successfully upload your web page. The Duckett textbook talks about that on a couple of pages. I want you to read that, but just read these instructions and follow them. I've made a video walkthrough, like how you do all these things. How do you download and install FileZilla? How do you I have a video here where I kind of talk to you about the web services for UWG. Now keep in mind the website has been updated since this video was made, but the content is the same. And then here's another video. So there's like 3 videos that I've made for you on this page helping you through this process of FTP upload. It's important that you know how this process works, and I may be asking you to upload later assignments, so your HTML page 1, I probably don't ask you to do that one, but I may ask you to do the HTML page 2 as an FTP upload, and the CSS page 1 and 2 also as FTP uploads. We'll see. FTP may come into play, but I like to put it here early in the class so that we can resolve any technical problems. If you do have a technical problem with this FTP upload thing, don't freak out. There's a tiny chance we might need to involve ITS on campus to get help. They support this service, this UWG web space, so let's use our resources. If you're unsuccessful, you know, we'll figure it out. You'll have time to fix it, okay? So don't freak out if it doesn't work. It doesn't work well. There's always like 2 or 3 students that this assignment, they don't click with it immediately. I don't know if it's a student or if it's a tech problem. I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out, okay? Just give it your best. Getting started with HTML coding, we're going to you guys are going to author a page, an HTML page, and you're going to submit it to the Dropbox. This is an introductory overview. This tells you this tells you some things that you need to read. In particular, you want to read this HTML page 1 topic overview. And anytime you see where it says like A2 or A2 blah 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 blah, that's the old name of the assignment. Don't worry about that too much. I will try to go through and clean that up, but just trust this is the right page. I've just renamed it. A2 didn't make sense to me, so I just renamed it HTML page 1. So you need to read that topic overview. That's super useful. And then in the Duckett textbook, we've got several readings that you'll want to do. And then here are the instructions. A little bit of it's a repeat, but I like to put it's like, why don't you might wonder, why don't I put all the instructions in Coursed-In? I've had them there before, but I found that students often like to be able to print things really easily. Um, Another thing about Google Docs is that you could do file, make a copy, and then you can make it your own. You can make your own copy and you can comment on the margin what you're doing. So I think it's more interactive if I put it in a Google Doc. So that's one change I'm making in this class this semester, as well as I'm trying to put most of the project instructions inside of a Google Doc. But keep in mind that they are intricately linked to the actual Coursed-In page. For example, these instructions don't allow you access to this reading here. So you need to go through Coursed-In. And then once you've done all this and you hit instructions, then you're good to go. So don't go out of order, okay? Don't just come grab instructions pages. You want to read all of the context stuff that leads up to those instructions as well. Obviously, you don't need to read the helpful resources. These are huge, vast resources. They're just here if you want them. But it's good to be aware of them. All right, so what are we going to do exactly in this assignment? You are going to write a short biography. So think about a web page, a website where it's created by somebody and you want to know about the author. So that's you. Who are you? Uh, what is your profession maybe? What are you passionate about? What are you working on? What are your goals in life? Why did you make you can add whatever you want for now, and then hopefully you'll be able to use that content on your website for the end of the class, your major project. So part of the idea here is you're drafting content that can be used on that later website. So just it's like a professional biography, a couple of paragraphs, and I want you to use these tags and um, elements, these HTML tags and elements. You'll know how to do that because you've read this HTML page 1 topic overview page and you have read these pages in the Duckett textbook. Okay? Once you're finished, you can place it in the Dropbox HTML page 1. And that is it for session 1. Yes, it is. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm also excited because my friend Charlotte may be coming into the class as a guest expert. So if we encounter like really tough questions with web design, I have her to back me up because my specialty with web design is not the super technical web development. I don't do back end development. I do web design on content management systems and learning management systems. I don't do, let's see, and I do a little bit on what we might call um, site, what is it? I can't remember what I called it. But on sites like Weebly, I might do a quick drafting of a small website on a tool like Weebly or Wix or something like that. But so I'm not a professional web developer, so I want you guys to have full resources, full access to people that can help you. I can help you a lot of the way. You can help one another a lot of the way, but Charlotte will hopefully be here to answer any really tough questions that where we don't understand like detailed technicalities. So I am excited about that. I'll create a discussion board once I get her a login, and you guys we can all post questions there for her, and I'll tell her when she needs to come in. All right, that's session 1, and let me know what questions you have as you work through the project.